One of the biggest challenges that I've found that organizations that pay out sales commission have is how do they actually incentivize their salespersons to meet the objectives that they need to meet, while at the same time making sure that the sales model or the scheme that they use is actually an equitable scheme. What I want to do is introduce you to a model I would have developed, which I believe alleviate some of those disadvantages and have the advantage of making sure that the model is an equitable one. Today, I will introduce you to that one. What I like to do is make sure that you understand that that any model that I create is actually one that can be used in a real world situation. So I'll introduce you first to the business case and what would have prompted me to actually develop such a model. Although I believe that the model is one that is robust enough that it can be used in any industry, and it doesn't make a difference the company, the industry, or the country. The company was actually a wholesale company, and what they were reporting was that they had a decline in sales, but they had an increase in commission being paid out, which is an odd effect. Usually, you have if you have a decline in sales, you're going to have a decline in commission as well. But they had a reverse effect there. So the sales commission that they had, or the model that they used, actually was there was a percent. It was paid on a percentage of sales, and but the sales representatives did not were not obligated to work to targets or did not have any targets. So they would, if they made X amount of sales, they were just paid out on the percentage that they made. The sales commission was actually paid out at the beginning of the following month. So say the sales were in January and the commission were obviously for January, they would be paid in early February to make sure that you give the administration aspect time to be able to work out what was the actual commission and if there were any issues that needed to be resolved. So that is understandable. It wasn't a quarterly sales commission payout and it wasn't a yearly one. The company did not necessarily want to reduce the overall payout. What they wanted was that it was more equitable model, and that they wanted to make sure that they didn't lose their key sales people by having something that the payout was not similar to other companies. So if other companies would normally have commission, or their sales representatives at the end of the month would make $5,000, they wanted to make sure that they were not paying their salesmen $3,000 because they know that they would leave. So that was not the intent. The intent was not to reduce the overall commission of the salesperson. The company actually wanted also a systematic model that was easy to administer and that the sales representatives could understand as well, because they did not want the difficulty that the salespeople thought it was too complicated, because when it comes to change management and being able to change the model, they believe that that would have caused some confusion and difficulty for the sales people to adopt the new model. So the solution that I came up with was actually to provide the company with a model that was first and foremost linked, that the sales commission was linked to actual targets, because that was a fundamental issue that I found in the model, and something that I would advise that anybody make sure that the sales commission model, no matter how you work it out, is actually linked to targets. The I try to maintain the overall model that they had before, where the sales commission was derived from the percentage of sales. I did not fundamentally feel that there was an issue there. And in general, I don't think that there's an issue. I think that there's more of a problem if you try to have sales commission that's worked out as a percentage of GP. Although I understand when it comes to returns and everything like that, you may say, okay, well, you don't want them to sell it as a discount, but you can actually you can make that part of your administration or your policy where you take out returns or you make sure that it's not discounted. And in general, if it's, so you can work that out to make sure that it's actually worked into the model as well. I made sure that the model was easy for the salesperson to determine if, when, and what they had to do to meet their targets. So it was very visual for them to say, okay, well, I am at mid-month and I've only made 30% of my sales target. So therefore, I have to make sure that within the next half of the month that I made 70%. It also allowed the company and the sales representatives to determine who was consistently not performing and their impact that they had on the overall target. I tried to ensure that the model that was created was very robust, so it didn't matter if it was used for departmental targets, overall regional sales, or product sales as well. So let us take a look at the first working example. So essentially, as I mentioned, the actual sales are linked to targets, and here, wherever you see the fields in yellow, it means that it's editable by the organization. So it doesn't contain a calculated field. So you have here the sales commission is actually 0.7% of the overall sales. The targets can be placed in and the actuals can be placed in. So the targets are not only on an individual basis, but it's also on the departmental basis. So you realize here for the sales rep, their target is about $600,000, but their actual that they met was about 400,000. Which means that the target percent, which is the actual over the target, was 0.67%. However, for sales rep 2, their target was $900,000, but their actual was about $1 million. So therefore, they were 1.12% over. Their target percent was actually 1.12%. So they met their target and they went over their target. Overall, you can also see that it would mean that the department has a target, or if it's a set of products that have a target, if you're in charge of specific products or you're in charge of specific a region or a set of countries within a set like Asia or the United States, etc., you can say that the overall target is X and how much did you make in the actual. So the commission dollars here, which is this column that's here, is determined by the salesman target percent, so 0.67% over the total target percent, which was 3.67%, and then you multiply it by the actual sales commission. So in essence, they would have made, as a team, they would have made 15,642.62%, but it's a matter of how much out of that money do you know does sales rep 1 actually make, and how much does sales rep 2 actually make. So you realize that sales rep 2 actually makes more than sales rep 1, because 1 he actually went over his target and therefore he contributed more to the overall $15,642.62. So I'll give you another example. Example 2, I maintain the commission percent because I wanted to let you see If everybody made theirs, what would be the overall total, and what would that mean? So you realize that all sales representatives have the ability to earn equal commission, even though, as I mentioned, their target would be different, and therefore, and their actuals may be different as well, because in this model, the goal is that it is more important that the sales rep meet their target. So they're not being penalized because they have less customers and you were the person who gave them less customers, or that they're in a region that essentially cannot make as much as one. So, for example, we know that sales rep, the region that they're in, they may never be able to make as much as sales rep two, who's able to make nearly a million, and they're just able to make just over half a million. But essentially, what you're saying is, as long as you make your targets, because we've given those to you, or there are other things that are involved, you are able to make just as much as sales rep two. You can change the target, and the understanding is that the targets are also outside of the range of their capability, of a salesperson capability. So if sales rep one consistently, or you realize the sales are actually about 500,000, you may say next year you want them to make about 550,000, and then the year after you make sure that they try to make 600,000. So you're saying, okay, well, we're growing by X amount, and this is the expectation that you still have to work for the money. So it doesn't say, okay, well, as a sales rep, you don't have to work for your sales commission. They still have to work for it. The organization can actually determine or predict their maximum payout. So you can use worst case scenario. You can say, okay, well, everybody will actually make their percentage, and this is the total amount that we would have to pay out. You can also say, okay, well, I believe that maybe X percentage of all the sales reps, maybe about 2 out of the 4 sales reps, so about 50% will go over by X amount. So I can tell how much we will actually pay out as an organization. So you can kind of predict what your payout would be as an organization, and that you're comfortable with. Because if you're not comfortable with it, you can maybe change the commission percent to make it a little bit lower, to say, okay, well, if they make 100% of their target, we want to only pay out X amount. The working example 3, what I wanted to show is that if one of everybody, except for everybody, made their target, and then there was one person who was actually over their target, what would that mean as for that person who made over the target, and for the department as a whole. So you realize that before in the working example 2, the sales commission payout was about $4,200 and something dollars. But no, because this one person is making over and everybody's making 100% of their target, it is actually more in the overall pot, because it's a weighted average. So this person, actually sales rep 2, actually is making $4,775.96, while the others are also making a little bit more. He is getting more of the overall commission amount because he actually contributed more. So the sales reps who contribute more are rewarded with higher commission. However, the whole will always benefit. So it's an incentive on the individual level as well as an incentive on an overall organizational level, which makes it a very robust model. The organization can easily see if they need to increase the targets. So if year on year or month on month everybody's making their targets, the organization or the departmental head or the regional head can say, okay, well, really and truly what we need to do, what I need to do is actually increase the targets because they're making them, and we can make much more in this region or in this area, and we're not untapped, and we just have to make sure that the targets are more and we push our salespeople more. So again, as I mentioned, this is a robust, I believe that this is a robust model for sales commission, where it's weighted, where you push each person individual, where it's to a target, so it's to the organizational goals and to the department goals. It is not limited to just departments, but you can use it as products, and you can have different tiers if you wanted to. My name is Dr. Wiggins. I would have provided you with some working examples and some equations, but if you have any other questions, you can reach me at alanrad.com. Thanks. Bye.